Estate planning can be complex. Have you seen the tax code? The UK tax code is 11,520 pages long. It's literally the longest in the world. Here's the proof. So let's look at the estate planning basics in 2023 and where everyone should start. There's two things everyone absolutely needs to have peace of mind and avoid being a burden for your family. Hi, I'm Mike Pugh. I'm a British-Canadian estate planner based out of Bristol, UK, with over a decade of experience, having 2,000 clients and serviced over £650 million worth of client estates. And I will tell you every secret I've got about estate planning and how to protect your family wealth if you subscribe to my channel. What are the two most important documents you need to have? In fact, literally your life and the lives of your family depend on this in the UK. These are a will and a lasting power of attorney, also known as an LPA. First, you may not be aware of this because most people aren't. More than half of the adults in the UK are going to die without even a basic will in place. Crazy, right? It sounds completely bonkers. Here's the proof. What these numbers tell us is that if you're under 55, there's a 65% chance that you don't have a will in place at all. And what we do know is that 53% of people are going to die without ever even putting a basic will in place. Just imagine, it's kind of nuts. You work and graft your entire life, and you're in the pursuit of money, and ultimately, if you can't use the money anymore, you kind of want it to go to the people you want it to go to. Yet 53% of Brits are not even going to write a basic will. And that's one of the core tenets of an estate plan. So now that you're watching this video, it means you're very likely going to write a basic will, and you'll be delighted to know that basic wills written professionally can cost as little as £99 plus VAT. It's not very expensive. And here's the statistics around lasting powers of attorney, or LPAs. If 6 million people in the UK have a lasting power of attorney, and we know there's 65 million, that means only 1 in 10, or thereabouts, has a lasting power of attorney. Now, what's important about these lasting powers of attorney is that with the advances in health sciences, and it basically means the things that used to kill us dead are now kind of outpatient treatments, aren't they? The stuff that used to kill our grandparents, we can now get treatments for. That means the likelihood of you surviving an illness or an accident goes up quite high. However, who's going to have the legal rights to help you in that moment? You're going to need these lasting powers of attorney. And what happens if you do suffer a disability? Let's talk plainly, because if you're watching this video, it means that you are interested in planning, you have a planner mentality. The likelihood of disability in the UK tragically is about 21 or 22%. Here's the statistics. So don't brush this off, because as we age, the likelihood of illness or accident only goes up, and we're all going to suffer from an illness at some point in time or another. And what if it doesn't kill you? What then? Right? So with almost a quarter of the population, stats again, having an illness or a disability, what you're probably thinking is, nah, it's not going to happen to me. Yeah, I probably will. I mean, I know your mom told you you're special. I'm the guy that's going to tell you you're average. And the law of averages is you're likely going to get ill or have an accident at some point. I imagine at this point in the video, you're probably thinking, gee, Mike, I'm so glad you could cheer me up. I'm so glad I'm watching this video. Well, it's not all bad news. The fact that you're watching this video means that you are a planner, and planning gives you options. This is really important. So let's talk about a basic estate plan in the UK in 2023. The first piece of a basic estate plan is a will. A will is a legal document that dictates how your assets are going to be distributed after you die. And it's very important that you keep your will up to date to ensure that it reflects accurately your wishes. So what happens if you don't have a will? Think about the 53% that don't have a will at all. Without a will, your estate is going to be distributed according to the legislation and the rules of intestacy. This means your assets will be distributed in a way that may not reflect your wishes at all, and could cause complications for your loved ones. It also can mean, tragically, that if you have children under the age of 18, they could go into foster care. So how do you set up a basic will? Shameless plug here. If you want the best will money can buy, we write basic wills for an individual for £99 plus VAT. That's a professionally drawn will, not a DIY kit where you're hoping you get it right. There are no do-overs in this. You want to get this right. And if you're young and you have small children, honestly, a basic will is probably all you need, because let's be candid. The wealth in your family is not your property at this point. The wealth, you're young, you've probably got a high mortgage, the wealth is your kids. And it's the basic will that's going to allow you to dictate who the guardianship is. So who's going to raise your kids if you and your partner are in the car and the car doesn't arrive? A basic will is going to take care of that for you. So creating a will is a simple process that outlines your wishes as to who is going to get your assets after you pass. And you can dictate or you can nominate, and the executor of your will is the person that you can nominate to carry out the wishes within your will. They're going to make sure that what you've written down actually occurs. The second part of a basic estate plan here in the UK in 2023 is a lasting power of attorney, or an LPA. An LPA is a legal document that allows someone to act on your behalf if you become unable to make your decisions known. The power of attorney can be particularly important because as we get older, we are probably all going to require some help with managing our affairs. And so if you're one of the children and your parents are getting up over 60, you really do want them to have a lasting power of attorney, because how else are you legally going to be allowed to take care of mom and dad without having to go down to your bank and get your money out to pay their bills? You want to be allowed to go to their bank and get their money to pay out their bills, right? By appointing someone within a lasting power of attorney that you trust, namely if you're over the age of 60 and you're watching this, you can appoint your children if you trust them, and then they have the legal right to go down to your bank, get your money out, and keep the lights on. That's what they're for. And they will also be able to protect your rights and ensure that your wishes are respected. There are two different types of lasting powers of attorney here in the UK. There's property and finance and health and welfare, and they do different things. A property and finance lasting power of attorney will allow your attorneys, probably your spouse and adult children, to help sell property if need be, help move your financial affairs around so that you can be supported in your old age without any problem. It also allows people to go down to the bank and take out money to keep the bills paid. Lasting power of attorney for health and welfare is equally as important, and probably more so, because it's the one that's going to allow the people you love and trust to be able to speak to the doctors on your behalf. It's going to dictate what type of care you're going to receive, when you're going to receive that type of care. It also means that if you put this together, your kids and your spouse can help you remain at home longer instead of having the local authority section you and try to remove you from your house, because your attorneys can defend you. They can fight your corner. Might mean they have to put handrails in the bathtub and such, but it's always better for people to stay at home longer, isn't it? So how do we set up a lasting power of attorney? Well, if you're good with government forms, you'll be delighted to know that if you're putting together a lasting powers of attorney for you and your partner, there's about 80 pages of government forms and about 250 pages of guidance. So you're welcome to have a go. Or, being transparent, because this is what we do for a living, we offer the best lasting power of attorney money can buy at £199 plus VAT and disbursements. That's literally half the price of a high street solicitor. So what happens if you do not have a lasting power of attorney and you lose capacity? You need help, but there is no LPA in place. Well, this is kind of grim, I'm afraid. What's going to happen is your family, presumably your partner and your kids, are going to have to make an application to the Court of Protection to be nominated as a deputy. And that means it's going to cost the family £4,000 by the time the dust settles, and there's no guarantee they will be approved as deputies, because the Court of Protection, which is a famously opaque court, often rules along the thinking of, well, if you were supposed to be in charge of your partner's finances, they would have put together a lasting power of attorney. See how this works? So what may end up happening is, even if they do get appointed as a deputy, they may have to check in and report to a local solicitor, who, of course, every time you're going to deal with them, they're going to expect to get paid. So the meter really starts to run if you get stuck and you don't have a lasting power of attorney in place. You don't have to believe me. You can Google Kate Garraway and read about the story about her husband. It's all true. Everything freezes up when you don't have these lasting powers of attorney in place. It's that important. Remember, an ounce of prevention is always worth £4,000 a cure. Optional planning, but recommended in many cases, are trusts. These are not part of a basic estate plan. A basic estate plan is a will and lasting power of attorney. But if your home is over certain tax thresholds, there's probably a reason to have a look at not paying inheritance taxes. Or if you are concerned about care fees, I've shot multiple videos on how to avoid care fees as well. For more information on trusts, subscribe to my channel. We produce a lot of videos on what trusts do and how they actually work. So let's sum this up. There are 2 estate planning documents that you're going to need to have a basic estate plan in the UK in 2023. The first is a will, and the second is lasting power of attorney. By having these documents in place, you can ensure that your wishes are going to be respected and that your loved ones are going to be protected in the event that you die or you suffer incapacity. It's important to work with a professional estate planner to make sure that the documents you get are legally valid and are going to do exactly what you want them to do. With the right planning and advice, you can create an estate plan that protects your estate and provides for your loved ones and their financial goals as well. So there you go. Now you know what you need to have a basic estate plan here in the UK in 2023 and what you're going to need to do to protect your family and your assets. Remember, estate planning is an ongoing process, so be sure to keep your estate plans up to date to reflect any changes in your circumstances or your wishes or your tax and legal environment. If you're worried about care fees, check out our video on how to avoid care fees.